as we've said, you've spent 40 years designing kitchens. We've looked at how you started, but really how kitchens started. Fast forward, what are the kitchens in the next 40 years going to look like? How are they going to change from the kitchens we have at the moment?
Well, we are definitely in a very interesting period. I think we're listening to our instincts more. I've used neuroscience to try and understand our behaviour in the kitchen, and they talk about our hardwired needs. And at last, we're beginning to listen to how we want to live. And there's a whole series of forces, sociological forces, technological trends, that are, I think, in some ways, destabilising the idea of home. But they're also opening up the house. So, we already have open plan on an architectural level. But on a technological level now, you don't need separate rooms anymore. We are our devices. We are almost like cyborgs. I know that sounds rather dramatic, but I think I'm saying something truthful here. Why do you need to go to a living room when you've got your media device in front of you? You don't. So living rooms, what are living rooms anymore? Nobody really knows. What are kitchens anymore? In a way, it's up to every family to decide what they want to call that room. The word kitchen is actually holding us back. So it's it's like a room for all reasons is what I sometimes end up my presentations with. But to answer your question about the future, well, one of the trends that we're looking at now, and I'm teaching my students, is researching into the four-generation kitchen. And this is coming about because of the high cost of property, but also the Asian idea of families living together seems to be something we're probably going to return to. It's what we probably did 200 or 300 years ago, and we're now going back to perhaps more of a norm. I certainly intend to be around with my grandkids if I possibly can, and I want to cook for them, and I want them to cook with me. So I want to see a kitchen that's capable of four generations using and being in and loving at the same time. If you've got two generations selling their house, they can maybe come together and build one big one. But then also there's going to be families and people or individuals who haven't got large families, and we need to look at those. And I think they'll be an interesting space to watch. They're going to have to be very sophisticatedly designed. It's like they're going to be like yacht kitchens, maybe, very carefully planned, not much space. I see the rise of smart small appliances. You can already see it happening.
Yeah, you just spoke about the fourth generation kitchen. I thought you was talking about a kitchen that somebody could use through their four generations, but you're in fact talking about a kitchen that four generations can use at the same time.
Yes, I am.
Right.
And the design, funny enough, the design is different. And I've done two prototypes, and I'm building another one right now. And it sounds a bit crude, but it's long and thin. It's not about great big slabs of islands anymore. And of course, with smaller spaces anyway, you might see this differently. So it's more like a spine that you can play from. I'm not going to say any more, but I will produce some pictures. And our students are working on the designs right now, and we'll have, I hope, a public presentation in next July, and possibly we'll have some exhibitions. We'll use we'll try and get the students' designs built, a couple of them, and we'll have them on display at trade shows, and certainly at Newcastle when we get this Centre for Ageing built. And obviously all sorts of other things. I'm hoping that we can involve the industry in doing research and funding some research. So no, it's about having people do things together.
Well, Johnny, I've known you for over 30 years, and you've always coming out with interesting ideas and things worth waiting for. So
that's good.
I'm happy to wait to see what you come out with next time. Thank you very much.